Okay, awesome. Thanks everyone for being here. It's the first day of summer. How exciting is that? And my name is Sarah, and I have a fun topic to share with you tonight. I think some really tangible stuff with being able to share your story and some great tools. So I'm excited to share that stuff with you. And hey, I mean, it's June 21st. You can make so much happen in this business just by deciding you want to do it. Like it really is just putting time in, putting the effort in. If you are, I want to hit Success Club and I'm at 2 or I'm at 4, go for it. Okay, just go for it. It ups your confidence. Every time you do something like that, it ups your confidence in your ability to help people, your ability to rock this business. And make a list like of people that you want to invite and then genuinely reach out and be excited about it. Be excited about how you can help. There's always good, there's always bad. Just focus on the good. Okay, when we choose to focus on the bad or the fears, then it doesn't go so well. It's not so fun. So just focus on the good. Okay, so let me share what I want to talk about. And this was a presentation that I saw at LeaderCast, which is an event that I recommend you looking up. It happens in Georgia, and they simulcast it all over the country. So it's this huge conference that is all about training for leaders or people that just want to be leaders. Like it's pretty easy to be a leader. Like you just got to kind of hold yourself to a little bit higher standard. It doesn't mean being perfect. It just means being willing to try. So it happens every May, and we have it here in Alpena, small town in Michigan. The Chamber of Commerce has it at an auditorium. So I would look at your Chamber of Commerce and see. It's a really amazing event. I have notes from tons of different speakers, but tonight I'm just sharing one presenter. His name was Donald Miller, and he is an expert on branding. So the cool thing about him, or marketing, the cool thing about him is he used to be a screenwriter, try to write up movies and things like that for probably Hollywood, I imagine. So he's really good at writing stories and like actually thinking about the structure of stories. And he's applied that talent to marketing. So he's got a 7-step formula to storytelling that we'll get into. First, I want to share a little bit about what he shared to open his talk. He said, most companies spend so much money on marketing because they can't communicate clearly. If you can always work on your communication skills as a coach, it gets easier. You save yourself time. You get clients faster. You get coaches faster. You get successful clients, successful coaches faster. If you can just always try to get better at communicating. It's funny, I'm doing like a diamond push group for some of my coaches, and we were on Monday night, and I was saying something in messages, and one of them was just like, could you just record what you said so we can just replay it? It took me back to I just used to think the same thing about my sponsor, Trina. She would say something, I'm like, man, she just made it sound so easy. Like, of course someone would say yes to that, or that just makes it seem like perfect sense. And I just kept soaking up the stuff she said. Like when I take notes at presentations or national wake-up calls, I have a whole section on effective language or language I like. Like I write down the way I like, oh, that clicks better hearing it that way versus maybe the way I was trying to say it. So the things that click with you, like that you hear, remember those and start to use them. It's going to help you become a better communicator, and that will serve you in everything in life, and definitely in this. People don't buy the best. They buy the products that are communicated the clearest and the fastest. So, it's not, Shakeology is the best, but it might not be communicated clearly, or maybe it's overcomplicated. Maybe it's giving them so much information that they're just like, oh my gosh, I can't even get into it. So remember, always go to what you love about it. Why do you love it? Start there. So this is why I love it. And from what I know about you, I think you would love it because of this. Yes, there's so much you could say. And the goal is that hopefully they'll know it over time as they start to use Shakeology or use a product. They're going to learn more and more, but getting them to actually take action is about having clear communication. So people don't buy the best. They don't care about that. They buy the one that is communicated the clearest and the fastest to them. Later on, he said something that you basically have in 3 seconds, the customer or client, they need to know what it is that you have to offer within 3 seconds. So you definitely want to keep it fast. People buy things because they read or hear the words that make them want to buy stuff. He said that is just like human nature. It is just innate. He says the brain is always trying to do 2 things. It's trying to survive and thrive, and it's trying to conserve calories. So this is just human nature. So with survive and thrive, he said it's basically what keeps you alive, like something that like I need food, and then thrive is like I need social tribes. He said you could break it down to the fact that like, okay, I need shelter and I need someone to have my back if I have to go like fight a saber-toothed tiger, like back in like old school days. So like do something nice for someone else to do something nice for you. So really it's those 2 things, survive and thrive. And then he said conserve calories. This was interesting. The brain checks out when it's not into it. 30% of the brain's time is spent daydreaming as a way to conserve calories. I totally get sucked into daydreams sometimes. And so if you're bored, if you're not into it, like think if you were in a class and you're just like, oh, hopefully you're not feeling that way right now, but your brain just checks out because it's like, oh, I got to conserve calories. This is not that interesting. So if you can communicate faster, you've got a better chance of their brain staying engaged. You have to communicate clearly in 3 seconds. They need to know what it is that you're trying to communicate. He said, your story doesn't matter. Theirs does. You have to get into your customer's story. So you share this. I mean, in Beachbody, you share so much of your story for sure. But if you can start to tweak a little bit into like, have you ever felt this way? You know, I was this girl, you know, maybe you're this girl, like trying to talk into their story and not just always your story. He used this analogy that was kind of funny. He said, you know, if you just handed someone an 8-pound bowling ball, they'd know that, okay, we're going bowling. You know, it's got to be that simple. If you hand them an 8-pound bowling ball that's covered in Vaseline, they're like, what the heck? You know, and it's like, and if you hand them 3 8-pound bowling balls covered in Vaseline, they're really like, what's happening? You know, like he said, don't give them slippery bowling balls. Just make it simple. Boom. Oh, we're bowling. Okay. It was funny. He just yelled at a lot. He's like, nope, that's a slippery bowling ball. If you confuse, you will lose. The brand that communicates the simplest wins. I liked this part. He said, stories are great. Telling stories is a great way to have kind of captivating marketing. He said, stories hijack brains. You can watch a movie for 2 hours and never daydream, but yet you could be like listening to a podcast that didn't catch your attention and start daydreaming instantly, or reading a book that's not catching your attention and start daydreaming instantly. But movies keep your attention. So I was like, oh, that is so true. So when I think about his presentation, it's kind of 2 things, like, you know, telling your story obviously takes a little bit longer than 3 seconds. But in your other communication, it's like, can you get the message out there clear and fast? You know, I think this would be perfect for you because of what you just told me. I think you should do this. My recommendation is to do this kind of thing. Okay, so 7-step formula to stories. I'll just show you really quick. I've got a little chart here. Okay, so he basically broke it down. This is how you create a story. Step number 1 is character. You have to have a character. You have to define what the character wants, and you have to define it quickly. Has to want something, has to define it quickly. You need to know why people come to you. Don't be vague. Your company needs to be known for providing one thing. So what is it that people come to you for? Motivation? Like, there's so many things we could say, but just try to keep it simple. You know, I think people come to me for inspiration, or I think people come to me for hope. So just kind of one thing. Number 2, with a problem, a character with a problem. If there's no problem, there's no story. When you solve the problem, the story is over. If we can't say exactly what the problem is quickly and clearly, we are losing millions, is what he said. You're losing money if you can't articulate what the problem is. You know, if you're talking to someone on a one-on-one message and they're telling you all the stuff. If you can't say back right away, look, your problem is that you're never prepping. I know this 5-day clean eating challenge is going to help you prep just 24 hours in advance. We're going to start there. That's doable. I know you can do it. Do you want to do this? Like, be convicted, be passionate about it, because that's the truth. If someone just starts with 24 hours of prepping ahead, if they're never planning, that's going to be game changing for them. And like, listen, I always think like, I know the group that I'm going to provide is going to offer them a great supportive environment to do that. I know I'm going to check in with them. So I have faith in the group. I have faith in me, and I have faith in the products that they're going to use and the systems that they're going to use. You should all have faith there. If they don't succeed, it is on them, because you delivered everything over here. Sometimes they're just not there yet. Okay. But trust that you're going to show up. Your group is going to be what they need, all that stuff. So sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but be confident enough to be able to say in that message something like, this sounds like it's your problem, and I know this group will help you. I try to, like, sometimes I'll go back in my messages and I'll write things like, I think this group will help you. And I'm like, oh, erase the word think, make it no. Like, just to be more convicted and less, wishy-washy, because I do know it will help them. Man, just think about all the people that it has helped. Don't think about the people who dropped off. That's on them. You were there for them. You gave them everything they needed. Okay, I got sidetracked on with a problem. Okay, so we've got our character with the problem. Number 3, meets a guide. So the guide is you. His examples were Yoda and then Woody from Cheers, who is basically in Hunger Games. I can't remember his name, but he's the one who helps Katniss the whole time. He's like, the guide helps the hero win. And he said, you are never the hero. You're always the guide. So you can position yourself as the guide and let your clients be the hero. Let your coaches who succeed be the heroes. Sometimes it might not always work out perfect. And side note, with this storytelling thing, I like it. It helps me have better communication, but it might not always work perfect on this little path. But if you can always try to make other people the hero and you be the guide, that's awesome. That's a good place to kind of think about it. They need to hear their story, not yours. People don't want a hero. They want a guide. People just cheer for heroes. People think they can never be heroes, right? Have you ever had clients be like, oh my gosh, I could never do what you do? Or even coaches, I could never do what you do. Okay. You don't want to create that kind of some people are always going to feel that way because they are so far removed from ever being able to do what you're doing right now, but that could change. But you want people to feel like, oh, I could probably do that too. And this person's going to cheer me on. This person actually has hope that I can do it. So number 4 is that guide gives them a plan. Hello, that's what we do. We have plans. It's like, we'll plug you into this. I'm going to support you. You just have to follow this one step at a time, and it's small wins going to add up to those big results that you want. Reiterate exactly, keep it simple and short. Sure, there might be a million things and you have to figure out how to use Beachbody on demand, and I got to explain to you how to make an actually good shake. Just keep it super simple. This 5-day is going to be a supportive environment that you are lacking from what you told me. And in 5 days, you're going to see how easy it is to eat clean, and then we'll take it from there towards your bigger goals. I know this will work for you. Are you in? Just keep it simple of what the plan is. Hold on. I'm just going to do a mute really quick there. Perfect. Okay. Thumbs up. You guys good? Are you daydreaming? Okay, cool. Just testing you. Okay, so we've got a character with a problem, meets a guy who gives them a plan and then calls them to action. So basically, he's talking. So what Donald Miller does is a lot of website creation for companies, like huge companies that are selling, I don't even know. I can't think of anything right now, but more of an actual, a vacuum or a self-help 7-day book kit or something like that. So he's working more on websites, and he says you have to have a call to action. He was like, put a buy now button in the top right corner of your website. So that was funny. I do graphic design, and they always talk about the right side of the page is where the eye naturally goes first. And so like if you want people to see something, like it should be over there. So he's like, top right, put that buy now button. But what else that he said that I really liked is maybe there's a sign up for me to be your coach. Like if you have a like page, like your sign up, like have me be your coach, and it goes right to your page, and they can like become a customer under you. Or it's just a make me your coach exclamation point, like a big call to action type of button. Be clear about what you want. He says, when you're passive, you come off as not believing in your product. So I've been dropping in all these extra, like my opinions on messaging, and that sums it up right there. Like you really have to be confident in the product and your ability to help someone. Because if you're wishy-washy, if it's, oh, I think, oh, probably, then you don't sound like you believe in it. Okay. And that I almost think, I really do think that does people a disfavor too, or a disservice too, because their belief and their ability to do it goes up when your messages to them is like, I know this is going to help you and I'm going to support you. I've had so many people be like, gosh, I quit all the time. And they don't quit in my challenges. They rarely do. Most people get through because I'm like, I'm not going to let you quit. If you go MIA for 36 hours, I'm going to be texting you. I just want you to show up each day. I really just tell them they're not going to. And I think that kind of ups their own subconscious confidence and accountability to themselves. So he said, stop using learn more. Stop using want to get started. Okay. So stop using those in your messages. Let me know if this sounds good to you. No. Okay. Does this make you want to see another video? Do you want to hop on the phone and chat about this? I think this would be a great fit for you. Let's chat on Friday. Like try and be more specific and not just like, let me know, learn more, want to get started. He said that's so passive. Step 6. Where's my share screen? Okay. So we've got character with a problem, meets a guide, who gives them a plan, calls them to action. 6, and the results. What are the results going to be? He said, give them something that they can, with the call to action, one more thing. He said, give them something they can either accept or reject. Yes or no. Okay, so 6, the results. Show what life will look like if they work with you. And this goes into 7 of success and failure. Show what it will look like if they don't, if they just decide to stay the same. If they tell you that, this one girl today, she said, I'm in a vicious cycle. I continue to just keep gaining weight. Then I beat myself up about it. And then I make myself feel better by eating. And then I'm more like, she's like, it's just a vicious cycle. And so I basically showed her, I'm like, look, if you do this challenge, you're going to start to break the cycle. It's going to break the cycle. It's not going to fix it. It's going to break the cycle. If you don't do this challenge, it's never going to end. It's just going to get worse. Like, just talk straight to them. That's the truth. She doesn't do something to disrupt the cycle, it's not going to get any better. And just have to show them that. So show them what happens if they don't take action. He said, if your message isn't coming from one of these 7 parts, you are wasting time and money. So when you're doing I think about this more with posts on Facebook. This is where I kind of use this story telling guide a lot more, and I can share this for sure in the group.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Alexa just talks every now and then. Was that weird? Did you just think someone was in my house? It was loud, wasn't it? I'm not quite sure how to help you with that. I don't even know. Okay, anyways, there's a couple other tools here if you want to do them. So this is on his website. Sorry, it's kind of blurry. It's basically that same thing, but with different questions that might be better for you and your brain and the way you think through things. Have we defined something the customer wants? If you did a post or you did an event page and you're explaining what this group is, maybe you could walk through these things. And then I did this. This was kind of fun. Who's my character? What do they want? Like, we've done exercises with avatars and things like that. What's their problem? And it kind of helped me refine and reflect and be like, oh, I think people just really need to get over their excuses kind of thing. Like when I think about it with my business. So this story, so we've got a lot of stuff about, being convicted, talking straight, keeping it simple. A lot of that comes through with your messages when you're talking to people. And then I think the storytelling stuff works really great for posts. So I have a couple post examples that I was going to share. So here's one I did right after I went to the thing that I was just like, okay, I'm going to go through these 7 steps and see what I end up with. So I wrote, let me tell you a story. There was this woman in her late 20s who felt completely stuck. She had partied her way through college, never really applied herself, went into a career she didn't like, and kept trying to ignore her intuition that was constantly screaming, you are meant for more, apply yourself. But she didn't know how. So that's the character, that's the problem. Then she met another woman who was larger than life. She was a few years older than our main character and had drive, purpose, and goals. Quite frankly, she intimidated the socks off the stuck party girl, but she was so curious that she kept watching, listening, and learning from her. So there's the guide. A couple of years go by and that party girl has become a woman with a purpose, even goals. She has learned how to actually cook and not live on Taco Bell and pizza. She loves fitness and has even started doing 5Ks. She has begun to make a real income and feels she can finally contribute to her family. She believes in herself for the first time in years. So this is kind of going into a little bit of the plan. Here's the plan more. Here's what happened. She found a mentor who helped unlock her potential. She discovered a business opportunity that aligned with her new passion for living healthier and happier. She had support and resources handed to her that ignited a belief in herself and love for herself. So call to action right there, plan right there. Opening a Beachbody coaching business changed my life. It has become my second chance. I know it benefits every single lifestyle because I've seen it happen in the lives of the women who have become a coach in my team. There's a spot for you. Message me if you'd like to see the 20-minute 411 real deal on coaching video I just created. So there's the call to action. All opportunities are scary. It is easy to be a skeptic. That party girl was a huge one. But if you never let curiosity play a role in your decisions, you'll never expand your life to something greater. So there's the results, kind of. If you don't do this, you'll never expand your life to something greater, But if you do this, who knows? Great opportunities could happen. So I thought that was a fun way to talk about coaching. I think a lot of times when we're talking about coaching or our transformations, being able to use the storyline thing comes in handy to maybe help you think differently about it and tell it a little bit more creatively. Okay, so here's another one that I just did today. So I had a problem thinking big. I always did the status quo and said, what's wrong with being average? When I switched careers from broadcasting to fitness, I was suddenly surrounded by people who really believed in me. They wanted me to succeed. That change to my environment forced me to expand my own thinking when it came to what I was actually capable of. I was pushed to grow out of my comfort zone, do scary things like teach classes, lead groups, and be vulnerable. Today, I have a problem with not thinking big. My creativity is always flowing, and I say yes to nearly everything because I love living a happy action taker life. I want to do it all, and best of all, I know I can. Even on hard days, deep down at my foundation, the words I can are screaming out louder than I can't. Choose to think a little bigger today. Choose to believe in yourself a little more today. Choose to say yes to something you would normally say no to. Letting your belief in yourself grow is your greatest superpower. So that one didn't hit like every point perfectly, but I came up with this post because I thought about, okay, what's the problem? How did it overcome? What was the action plan? Kind of stuff. So is this helpful? Yay. That is what I've got. If you guys have questions or comments, feel free to unmute.
Would you mind posting that story thing that you had, like the outline of it somewhere?
Yeah, I'll post this recording in the Team Fit and Free page, and I'll post those graphics underneath as well.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's a great thing to reference when you want to do some kind of longer post. Cool. Yay. Any other questions or comments? I appreciate you all being on. All right, who's going to Summit? Nice, yay. Morgan is probably raising her hand too. That's amazing, you guys. It's less than a month away. I'm so excited. It's going to be really hot, but it's going to be fun. All right. Well, have an amazing night. I'll post this recording and get the graphics up. And thank you again for being on. Bye, everyone.